Before we begin, welcome back to House of Cleopatra. If ancient power, royal destiny, and the final battles that shaped history move your soul, subscribe now. A new story rises every week, and tonight, we witness a moment when an empire turned its gaze toward Egypt and toward Cleopatra's throne. History often remembers Cleopatra and Mark Antony as lovers who doomed themselves, but the truth is far darker. Their downfall did not come from romance. It came from a single man, a young, brilliant, calculating politician named Octavian, who would one day become Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. But before the glory, before the temples, before the Senate bowed to him, he was just a cold, determined survivor in a broken republic. And Cleopatra was the one person he believed he had to destroy to rise. After the assassination of Julius Caesar, Rome became a storm of fear, revenge, and ambition. Senators who killed Caesar celebrated for one day and then spent the next months running for their lives. Mark Antony tried to position himself as Caesar's successor through raw charisma and military force. But rising quietly in the background was Octavian, Caesar's adopted son, only 19 years old. Pale, sickly, soft-spoken, he didn't look like a threat, but his mind was sharper than any blade in Rome. While Antony controlled armies, Octavian controlled information. While Antony commanded soldiers' loyalty, Octavian commanded the public's fear. And while Antony loved deeply, Octavian loved only one thing: power. At first, Antony and Octavian worked together, forming the Second Triumvirate. But alliances built on ambition collapsed faster than sand in the Nile wind. The moment Cleopatra re-entered Antony's life, Octavian understood something that Antony never did. Cleopatra was not just a queen, she was a symbol of everything Rome feared. Eastern wealth, Eastern magic, Eastern legitimacy. She was a mother of Caesar's son, Caesarion, a living threat to Octavian's claim as Caesar's heir. Octavian knew exactly what message could turn Rome against her. Not truth, but fear. He began weaving a narrative slowly, poisonously, brilliantly. He told Rome that Antony had fallen under Cleopatra's spell, that she fed him foreign luxuries, that she dragged him into drunken rituals, that she made him worship her as a goddess, that he planned to abandon Rome and build a new empire in Alexandria. None of it had to be fully true. It just had to be repeated. Propaganda became his army. Rumors became his generals. Fear became his most loyal soldier. In Rome's marketplaces, whispers spread like wildfire. Women clutched their babies when they heard Cleopatra's name. Men spat in disgust, imagining Antony kneeling at her feet. Senators trembled at the thought of a foreign queen controlling Roman legions. Octavian had weaponized the oldest political trick: villainize a woman, then destroy the man who loves her. While Antony prepared armies, Octavian prepared narratives. Rome would not fight Egypt because of territory or taxes. Rome would fight Egypt because Octavian convinced them their world, their families, their identity, their future were all under threat from a queen they had never met. And so the world slipped toward war. In Alexandria, Cleopatra felt the tension in the wind. She saw Antony's frustration, his pride bruised by Rome's mockery. She saw her children growing, unaware of the storm gathering. And she felt something deeper, a cold, ancient fear that her kingdom, her legacy, and everything she had fought for since she was a young queen exiled in the desert, was about to be tested. The Battle of Actium sealed their fate, a war fought not with swords alone, but with betrayal, starvation, mistrust. Cleopatra's navy was strong. Antony's legions were loyal, but Octavian's propaganda had done its work. Generals defected, allies hesitated, supplies never arrived, and when Cleopatra's flagship pulled back, whether by strategy or survival, Antony followed. Historians mocked him, but Cleopatra knew the truth. Antony would rather die protecting her than live abandoning her. When their fleets collapsed and Octavian claimed victory, he did not celebrate. He calculated. He had defeated Antony, but not Cleopatra, and Cleopatra was a true prize. Egypt was the richest kingdom in the ancient world. Killing Cleopatra would not be enough. He needed to break her, humiliate her, parade her through Rome in chains. But Cleopatra was not a queen who bowed. When Octavian finally invaded Alexandria, Antony fell by his own hand after hearing a lie that Cleopatra was dead. Carried to her hidden chamber, he died in her arms, whispering love and regret. Cleopatra held him, her tears mixing with his blood. And in that moment, something in her heart turned from grief to fire. She would not let Rome write her ending. Octavian entered Alexandria expecting a shattered woman. Instead, he found a queen dressed in gold, her spine straight, her gaze sharp, her presence unbroken. She negotiated. She defied him. She read his ambitions like an open scroll. And Octavian, for all his coldness, was terrified. Not of her armies, not of her wealth, but of her charisma, the same power that moved Caesar, the same power that bound Antony. He feared that if she lived, she might sway Rome again. So he planned her humiliation. A parade, chains, mockery, a queen reduced to a trophy. Cleopatra understood. She always understood. And the choice she made was not of fear, but sovereignty. She prepared her mausoleum. She adorned herself in royal gold. She wrote her final letters, and whether it was a bite of an asp, a poisoned needle, or a hidden toxin, Cleopatra chose a queen's death over a prisoner's life. When Octavian found her lifeless body, he realized the truth. He had conquered Egypt. But he had not conquered Cleopatra. Her dignity remained untouched, her legend untarnished, her spirit unbroken. And in her death, Octavian gained what he wanted. Rome hailed him as a savior. The Senate granted him supreme power. He became Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. Cleopatra's death ended one world and began another. But even emperors fade. Cleopatra did not. Here, in House of Cleopatra, her story still breathes. If this chapter shook your heart, subscribe now. Next week, another legend rises.